Once again, here we are. It is Saturday, and welcome to my jam session. It's Jiao, and we have some wonderful changes on the horizon because we're moving from 谷雨 to Sha. We're at the finishing of 谷雨, and we're going to move into Sha. Sha is the beginning of summer, which starts on May 5th. And as we readily approach that, as we move into the solar cycles, we're finishing up the spring section. This is the final section of spring, which is 谷雨, which is the grain rain. And we are moving into our new period because 谷雨 is the early crops show their shoots. They start to now sprout. But then as we go into Sha, the start of summer, this is where the Chinese summer begins. And remember, in the West, they use the solstice and the equinoxes to demarcate seasonal changes. In the 24 solar cycles, they happen earlier. So the start of summer, in this particular case, is going to be on and around May 5th. So on the Gregorian calendar. So as we move forward into our energetic expression where we feel the pores getting more open, our body's circulation beginning to move more readily into a more circulatory type pattern, we begin to feel that summer is here. And what we can see as direct change of that is temperature. So as we see, the temperatures have been going from 81 to 75 to 80, 90 as of April 20th. And then today it's going to be 81 as our high. We can see that the temperatures are starting to climb and get more and more and more. And places like Montreal, that is typically very cold in the wintertime, it's even at 45, 46, 41, 50. And then today it will be 65 as its high. So as you see that as the world begins to experience more warmth, we begin to feel the changes through our body, and now we need to make the adjustments appropriately. So as we move forward, then we can see at night what the lows are. So the lows go from 52 for the last few weeks, and today's low will be 67 at night. So Montreal was 30 at night around April 4th and around, March 30th area. Then today it's going to be 35. In places like Abu Dhabi it was 69, 70, 76, 70, and tonight's low will be 78. So what does that mean? Remember, we're always adjusting our bodies to the solar cycles. And as we're adjusting our bodies to the solar cycles, we're making sure our bodies are now moving in a way that will constantly make us feel that the changes are gradual, and we make those changes day by day because small wins do what? Give us big wins. They accumulate the effects. Now, as we move, we see where we're moving throughout the world, we're in the upper aspect, or I should say, the northern hemisphere, in the northern latitudes. And in the northern latitudes, things are colder in retrospect. As you can see, that we have our winters and our summers just opposite of the southern hemisphere. So where we are in Orlando is in the 31st, 30th, and 29th latitudes, between the 29th and the 30th latitudes. We also have another section that we'll talk about in a minute, but these 29 to 31st northern latitudes run straight through southern China, and that's where we get the solar cycles measurements from, like places like Sichuan or Wuhan. And those places allow us to see what it's like in Brunswick, Georgia, or St. Augustine, Florida, or DeLand. Those have the same amount of energetic expression as well as weather changes like Cairo. So then now, as we see these changes happening all across the planet, we are constantly making adjustments for ourselves. Now, in the northern latitudes that are higher, which is 35 to 45, the same changes happen in Albuquerque or Charlotte or Denver and Philadelphia, or closer to Portland and Minneapolis, or in places like New York. So they are synonymous with, like Philadelphia is synonymous with Beijing, Charlotte and Albuquerque is synonymous with Shihan. And as you're seeing these changes move across the planet, you begin to realize that, okay, if we make subtle changes, we can now adapt to these seasonal changes very easily. So, as we can see in our solar cycles, we are at the final stage of spring. The 6 solar cycles of spring are about to finish, and we're about to start the solar cycles of summer, which is Li Sha, which will be in the next week or so. So, as we begin to prepare for summer, we are now going to close out the spring account. And closing out the spring account, we are going to be finishing with the peach fruit and with strawberries. So, with peach and strawberries, you're now going to incorporate this into your diet, and let's see what happens. So, as we begin to look at what our bodies are doing, we can now see what our bodies can afford us in the transformational process from one season to the next. So, as we close out spring, let's see for the young body type what peaches can do for us. Well, peaches can lubricate the lungs, can clear heat. Remember, any type of inflammation that the body has and it begins to dehydrate, it will produce some sort of friction, and that can be heat. So, lubricating that or generating fluids will help with the body. Now, things like Shao syndrome. Shao syndrome literally translates into thirsting and wasting disorder. So this is likened to what the Westerners call sugar diabetes or type 2 diabetes today. It's not exactly the same because of the way that the syndrome categorizes a lot of symptomology as well as indications and conditions and their expressions. They're not specifically using the same type of framework to categorize this. So this is why we call it Shao syndrome. But peaches can generate fluids and help with the Shao syndrome, promoting body fluids. There we go. Then now it will help promote body fluids by generating body fluid. And now you can also go back to the second one, clearing heat. If you have more fluid, then you have less friction and your body doesn't generate heat. It can also open the pores, and this gets us ready for the first part of summer, inducing sweating. So now that the body is used to now lubricating and moving and getting those pores opening and closing properly, and then firing off the what? The sweat glands and producing a little bit of perspiration. Now everything's ready for summer. So now that we have the yang body type out of the way, we can now go into the yin body type and one of my favorites as well, strawberry. So now strawberries also have some of the same indications as peaches for the yang body type, which is lubricating the lungs, promoting the body fluids, but it can also aid in digestion, strengthening the spleen and the pancreas. So, as we begin to look at how it does that, is because strawberries actually can work with the digestive enzymes, promoting the pancreatic function. So then now, if you're working with the enzymatic function and what controls the digestion, the body can now do a lot of cool things, like help with the sugar metabolism. Remember, the pancreas is key to the sugar metabolism, and it can also detoxify the body in overloaded of what type of sugar? Alcohol intoxicating conditions. So, if we're looking at these two concepts where it is generating fluids and then helping with the spleen and the pancreas, detoxifying what? The sugar alcohol, it can help with a lot of different other aspects, which is the dry cough, sore throat, and now if you have difficulty in urination, what can it do? That promoting of the body fluids will help the urinary flow. So then now, if you have all of those wonderful things happening with strawberry, then can it help with your appetite? Absolutely. Strengthening the spleen and the pancreas is synonymous with the appetite. So that's promoting that function. So if it's promoting that function of appetite, will you have any type of fullness or bloating or food retention symptoms? Absolutely not. So now, if you're a yin type, incorporate strawberries in this last part of the spring season and see how it works for you. So, this is a wonderful thing that we can do for ourselves with peaches and with strawberries, depending upon if we are a yang type or a yin type. So now let's go to our favorite part of the session, which is the Q&A. Okay, so it looks like you guys from Facebook and from the general session don't have any general questions. So we're going to adjourn for today. So I'm Zhao Sure, and I want to make a general announcement that I am coming out of retirement, going back into full-time practice, and we're doing personalized primary health care. And our new practice name is Affordable Asian Medicine. And it is a complete membership-based type practice. So you have to become a member of the practice. And once you get your membership, I'll be able to see you in my Cocoa Beach office as well as my Daytona Beach office. And we're going to be adding new offices. So stay tuned. I am Jiao Sure, and I will see you all next time.